This is crucial to the game, and oh my God, GG!
Sounds good at that cutting through the breakup of the Colossus!
All over the second.
There's no chance on the map. He kills it and he wins.
Stardust is gonna do it!
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hello and welcome to the DreamHack Open Grand Finals at DreamHack Winter. We are your hosts. I am in control. She's Smix. How you doing, friend?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well now. It's really nice to be here. It's cold. It's wintry. It's got that awesome feel. You guys just saw that video. DreamHack did such a great job. Amazing players are going to be here. We're going to do a little bit of a breakdown of everything you guys need to know. Smix, tell us a little bit about our sponsors.
Yeah, before we get there, we have to thank our great sponsors, Azo, Kingston HyperX, and Logitech G. Make sure you guys show them your love and support, as you know, none of these players, and we wouldn't even be here without them. So, make sure to show them your love.
Absolutely. And talking a little bit about the roles, guys, we will be your sponsors, and we're doing it a little bit different this time. DreamHack likes to keep it fresh, likes to change things up. So, Smix, tell me a little bit about what you're doing at DreamHack Open.
So I will be doing the interviews after the post-match games, and if there's any side interviews we want to do over here at the little corner here, I may do some of those as well. So mainly you guys will see me after those post-match games. But Yef, what will your job be here this weekend?
Yes, thank you, Smix. They always call me Yef here in Sweden, and I take it as a term of, it's a nice way of pronouncing it. It's affectionate, I think. So I will be your other host, and I'm going to be doing some stuff on the big show, as we always do. We wrap up DreamHack with an amazing show. I'll be doing some interviews, that kind of thing as well, and making sure the show goes along. But they've got some other fun content planned. We'll let that roll out naturally. And then otherwise, I'll be doing some casting alongside our other fantastic commentators. We've got Nathanius, and we do have Apollo here as well. And your in-game director will be Adabisi. Try to keep him off the Twitter as long as we can. We can't make any promises, though. And that's going to be your cast. That's going to be your role, kind of guiding us throughout this journey as we wrap up DreamHack for the season 2013. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be really cool. We're going to talk a little bit about the schedule. We're going to talk a little bit more about what's to come. We have a first huge match coming up very soon. But first, let's take a quick look at DreamHack 2013. I believe the term is nerd chills in honor of our good friend Artosis, who couldn't be here because he's busy being a real person, getting married. Big shout out to that guy. They did on a tropical island. Well, they got married on a tropical island. Yeah, I was in trouble like 2 words into that thing. So that's the video. DreamHack's obviously done an amazing job. It all culminates here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the grand final for the season. This is your last DreamHack. Then, of course, they've got some exciting announcements for next year, but that'll come a little bit later. But let's talk a little bit about the schedule. Go ahead, pull that up for us and take a look at what we're dealing with first.
Yeah, our first game will start with Life versus Polt. Obviously, 2 top caliber players. Life has shown time and time again that he's been a top player mostly back in 2012, early this year, and he's been in a little bit of a slump, but then he went on to win IEM New York. So we'll have to see if he brings that momentum here and does well at DreamHack Winter.
Yeah, I can't help but to think of Life versus Show, that one of the most amazing matches I've ever bared witness to. And of course, Show is here as well as Life, so maybe I mean, that's a little bit of a long shot, but we'll see.
If we can get around two, that would be DreamHack miracle. But we've had miracles, such great games happen at DreamHack before, so it's certainly possible.
DreamHack is the place where that does happen. Thank you. Robert Olin, the CEO on the side, this guy. But there's a schedule, ladies and gentlemen. The idea is to keep this moving so that there's just constant StarCraft coming your way. We're really excited about this. DreamHack is, like you said, there's miracles that happen here. We have an amazing list of players. It should be absolutely fantastic. I mean, Sue, what's the match you're most excited about, or player? What are you getting really amped for?
I really want to see how Tasia does. I already know you're going to be talking about the Dong all weekend, so I'm going to bring out a Liquid player here. I really am looking forward to Tasia and see how he does, because obviously we have SOS here, who unfortunately he did lose to Parting last weekend at the Rebel Battlegrounds, but he's still, I think he's still one of the best players in the world, and I really want to see how Tasia does up against him here to see who is the better player. So that's who I'm looking forward to. And what do you have to say about the Dong? I'm sure you have many things to say. You
took the name right out of my mouth. Yes, I'm really excited about Jaedong. Of course, the big storyline for him is that he came close at BlizzCon, another second place, though, so that grill on his back is starting to grow. It's becoming a bit of a problem. He's a championship caliber player, but he hasn't won a championship yet. So will he do it at DreamHack? Or are we going to have to wait all the way until next year? It's going to be a good show. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tasia, Hero, Jaedong, whoever it's going to be absolutely amazing. Let's get this thing kicked off. I'd like to introduce you guys to our casters for the evening. It's going to be Apollo and Nathanius. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, In Control and Smix. We are here, Nathanius, once again, just like DreamHack Summer in Jönköping. We're here again at DreamHack Winter, at one of the biggest and the best StarCraft tournaments that there basically has ever been. This is incredible.
It's absolutely amazing. The venue itself is massive, huge. It feels so good to be back here in Jönköping, and the players, the highest caliber that we're going to have this year for a DreamHack event.
That's right. This is the conclusion of 2013. There's been 4 prior stops: Stockholm, Summer, Valencia, Bucharest, and now we're here at DreamHack Winter to conclude it all, to get to the bottom, to find out who is the DreamHack champion of 2013. Previously, we had Hero, who won it twice in 2011 and in 2012. But here we are in 2013 to find out who that's going to be. And as you said, there are 19 world-class players playing in this tournament.
And they all had to go a very long way to get into this. And as we prepare to move into our first match, I think we're already in the loading screen for it, Apollo. It's going to be Life versus Polt. Talk about a match to start off the tournament with.
Yeah, that was incredibly fast getting into this game. I mean, we're kicking things off straight away here. When it comes to how the tournament's going to work, if anybody didn't know, is that, of course, it is 4 groups of 5 players. Unfortunately, Welmu was a player that couldn't quite make it due to sickness. So he, unfortunately, has to fall out of the tournament, which leaves us with 19 players. But if we have a quick look at the groups here, we can have a look at who is playing where, as we see Group A, B, C, and D. First of all, Group A. Wow.
I mean, you have your top foreign players as well as some of the Koreans that have made it really far. Patience sticks out. He's one of the players that made it through the online qualifier, didn't have an easy run there. And, I mean, looking at the group stage, the top 2 players make it out into the winner's bracket with an extra life.
Yep.
The third and fourth place players will move into the loser's bracket, and only 1 player is eliminated. So there's a lot of opportunity for everybody here to make it into the next stage.
That's right. Group A, Group B, Group C, and D, as you can see on screen. So the way that it's going to work, as you just described, if we just lower down and have a look at the playoffs, 4 players from each part of the group will move through. So as you said, the first and second place will move into the winners round 1, which we can see here. So there's 8 slots in winners round 1. 2 players from each group will give us 8 players. If they're in the same group, for example, let's say Naniwa and Hyun, for example, they're the top 2. They will not be playing against each other, so that's how it's drawn. 8 winners in winners round 1, and then the 3rd and 4th place finishers will go to losers round 1, which will be starting with day 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, so definitely makes getting the first 2 places in each group worth so much more. You get that extra opportunity if you do drop a series later on in the tournament. And then, of course, while you do have the opportunity with the 3rd and 4th to keep fighting in the lower bracket, it means 1 series out, and that's it. You're done. Yeah,
so it's very important for all of these players to really aim high, to set their goals for 1st and 2nd place, because that's obviously when it's going to become a lot easier as the tournament drags on. There's 18 world-class players. There is $75,000 on the line here at DreamHack Winter. And as you described, we are almost ready for game number 1. Here is our first player for Team StarTale. It is Life up there.
Definitely one of the stronger players that we've seen come into tournaments, as our hosts recently mentioned, Life taking a win at Intel Extreme Masters New York.
Yep.
Played very well. He's kind of been coming back towards the end of this year. We saw him be quite dominant in Wings of Liberty, but his return, very welcome. He played well in DreamHack events all throughout the year. Got a pretty deep run in DreamHack Summer before he was taken out by Show, and even managing to get a very high placement in Bucharest.
Yeah, that's right. You know, he had a really interesting year life, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But here's his opponent, Polt. It's Captain America. He's won 2 back-to-back WCS America events. He's had a fantastic year, really. I mean, considering that this player, as many know, had just gone back to school, just gone back to studying, and everybody thought he'd most likely drop off with results that it is very difficult to keep up. But he has been able to juggle both, being in school, studying, and also maintaining such a high level within StarCraft.
Yeah, it's seriously amazing just how much he can perform while going to school, basically full time. And he did manage to get through the open qualifier that we held last month to get here. So he, he hasn't actually been able to make it out to too many DreamHack events, but he managed to get through from afar, and now he's here to try to make a stake here in Jönköping.
And as you can see, the stage, which is usually going to have a couple of players within a booth, is a little bit different this time around. We have all 10 players from Group A and Group B on stage. Every single player is there, either playing their first game or just getting ready to play their first game. And of course, as the day goes on, we'll have Group C players and Group D players on stage. There they all are. There's the sponsors of the tournament. And I'm excited for this. As mentioned before, this is the tournament of the year for DreamHack. It's the conclusion of what a fantastic year we've had so far.
And it really has been an incredible year. So many amazing games, so many amazing storylines, and every single game, there's no more bracket stage qualifiers at the beginning of the tournament. We're jumping right into it, and the caliber of play, everything's on the line from the very beginning of this.
Yeah, that's right. It's all on the line. This is an all-or-nothing tournament to a certain extent, with the prize money being top 8 only. But it's now time to kick off with Group A here, which is going to be CS Storm's Polt against StarTale Life. I'm excited for this one, and I'm sure you are as well.
All right, welcome to Derelict Watcher, the first series here, DreamHack Winter. Spawning in the top right as the red Terran player from Team CM Storm, it is Polt. Coming through the online qualifier, taking out players like Wilmu and, well, we have a...
Yeah, Polt, unlike everybody else, actually went through, as you described, the online qualifier, which was run because there's been 4 prior events, 4 players from each qualified into it, and then we have, of course, had the online qualifiers where we had 4 more players that made their way through. Patience, Wellmo, Polt, and 4GG. But as we do have down here is the player from StarTale. It is, of course, Life, who performed so excellently, you described earlier, got that round of 8 finish at DreamHack Summer, where he played against Show on the stage, the massive game that we saw there where Show was able to upset the Korean. And of course, a top 4 finish at DreamHack Bucharest, which enabled him to be here today.
Yeah, he's really just been, he hasn't managed to get quite the same level of success that Royal Rotor style that we saw in the GSL and MLG in Wings of Liberty, but he has been a constant threat throughout every tournament that he's participated in. And I think one of the coolest parts about this tournament is you can't really count anybody out, but Life especially could go very deep.
Yeah, he could go incredibly deep within this tournament. Definitely a favorite to advance from this group, being 4 out of the 5 players to make it out here. But of course, we do have here Polt, another massive favorite to do well here. He's feeling confident. He's feeling that he can play excellent at this event, and I believe in him as well.
Yeah, certainly so. And just looking at the builds that we're getting out of these players at the very start of this game, Polt sticking to a very popular classic style of his, opening up with the barracks into that quick gas to go for a Reaper play. Very, very common style by him. He loves to get the potential early aggression with the Reapers, but also go into some of the more unorthodox styles. We don't see too many Terrans go with the follow-ups that Polt will bring, oftentimes into the standard Hellion play, but also going for a very quick Starport to get a Viking as well. And on Life side, we see the gas being taken before his spawning pull. He's just one of those Zerg players that really likes to open up with the quick speed so that he has the option to not only abuse greedy play from Terran players, but also bring on a little bit of pressure and stop anything like these Reapers or the early Hellions from doing too much damage.
Yeah, I mean, Life is a player that is almost unpredictable when it comes to that. You don't know if he's going to be aggressive. We know that StarTale Life loves to be that kind of player who likes to control the game, likes to be on top of things, loves to be able to control these units. And as you described, it will open him up with a couple of options which he could choose from if he does want to play aggressive.
Yeah, we see the Reaper about to come out for Polt. He's still got his SCVs on his gas, so we'll likely have the command center come up, then the quick factory follow-up, and I'd honestly be surprised if he did anything other than open up with the fast Viking, but that's one of the other things. Polt's a very creative player. He really could bust out many different types of openings.
That's one of the the strengths. If we look at Polt's side of things, he does have a lot of options to choose from, and to be honest, his style is very similar to Life. He likes to be active on the map. He likes to be able to control the game for his own, and he is slightly aggressive compared to the normal Terran play that we usually see.
Yeah, and the Reaper was going to come up. He should be able to spot this gas without too much trouble, as the first queens are only about halfway done. Could try to take a little bit of a poke at the drones, but not really committing too much here, just wants to see what's coming out. Zergling speed has already begun. Of course, the command center and the factory are on the way back home, and he's just going to try to poke these Zerglings, get that Zergling count low. Every Ling for Life really, he makes them so cost-effective in the mid-game stage that I think killing them in the beginning of the game is almost as good as killing his drones.
Yeah, I mean, if he was to pick off a couple of Zerglings here, he may be forced to build a couple more, which is, of course, not a couple of extra drones which could be powering his economy. But we do see Life here, who, if I'm not mistaken, is a little bit supply blocked, having to build 2 Overlords at once. This is slowing him down a little bit at the early parts of this game. This is not the ideal start he would have wished for.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to start to bank up a little bit more of his larva as the Overlords come out, and he can continue to power out the drones. The factory is done for Polt. Command center finishing up in the natural. And I'm mostly waiting to see as he takes that second gas. Okay, there's the starport. This is classic Polt. He's one of the few Terran players that ever since WCS Season 2 that he was able to take that first victory, and he kind of popularized the style of getting that very fast Viking out, denying Zerg map control, and also, as you stated, it can make things like supply blocks a little bit more common when a Zerg isn't anticipating that Viking to take out their Overlords.
Well, we do see Speedling complete now here, or Zergling speed, should I say, for these Zerglings. But with the second gas that Polt now has, he's going to start to increase his gas by quite a bit, having 2 gases quite early on. This is going to give him a couple of options, either going up to Banshees, with or without Cloak, depending on if he wants to invest in that. But it also could be an Armory, even though it would have probably come down by now. That is another option we do see from Terran players. Do you think it's just going to be this straight-up Banshee then?
Honestly, the way that Polt's been playing it out, he hasn't favored the Banshee as much, but seeing him utilize it means he's probably just keeping his eyes open for having to deal with these Zerglings. He can continue to put the Hellions if he wants. He slowed the production down just for a little bit, but he's continuing to make them. The Zerglings coming out here might be able to catch some of this as Polt's sitting just outside the edge of the creep. But it's kind of interesting because Polt really hasn't favored the Banshee as much as some of these other unit compositions with the starport opening.
Well, this is a style that has become much more popular. It used to be a massive opening here for Terran players. It is coming back into fashion a little bit, but Zerglings, of course, it's Life. He's going to get them in there, and he's right on that tech lab, and Cloak is going to get cancelled there as he does pick up that tech lab and even gets into the SCV line. An excellent move here by StarTale Life, and as always, somehow, some way, he's in there.
Yeah, I mean, he ran around the bottom side of that map, completely avoided those Hellions, and found a way to dive into the main base of Polt, and that's such a nice victory. You deny the Cloak as well. Polt already invested his resources into that. Even if it gets canceled, it still means he couldn't have done something else instead of that, slowing him down, as you stated. Third command center's on the way. Double evolution chamber start. We still don't have stim. The engineering bays are beginning for Polt, so you shouldn't fall too far behind in upgrades, but this is just a little nice edge that Life's gotten just by having that good Zergling control.
That's right, and well, we have the Hellions here that do move in. Poke in here. Doesn't really want to waste a scan here. The Queens are going to be able to replace it quite fast, and the creep spread is spread quite nicely here. It's going to be difficult to get as many of them down as possible. But as you said, one more now is on the way here for StarTale Life. Likewise, we should be seeing that come from Polt. Leia has begun, and so far, so standard, I'd say, from both players. You know, nothing really to give one player a major edge over the other so far. It is an equal game so far.
No, I completely agree. The Banshee gets into the main base, might be able to pick off one of these Queens, but a little bit of a nice grab there. Banshee only has that one kill, though, not able to get the drone kills that you'd really be looking to get when you invest this early tech into the Banshees early on. Hellions take a little bit of a poke, trying to press that creep back, but Life opened up with 6 Queens. Of course, he just lost one, but keeping those 3 Queens out there really allows him to spread the creep almost completely uninhibited by those Hellions.
And so far, no signs of aggression from Life. It's just playing a very regular game. As the Spire completes, he'd be looking to get that Baneling speed and go up to the Spire itself. Sorry if I said Spire instead of Leia before. But the Banshee, you did describe it now, is that it was an investment. It slowed down the engineering base, which could have been upgrading his units earlier. He hasn't really done that much with it so far, just a single kill.
Yeah, and he's trying to catch the Hellions out in the center of the map. Good control actually keeps most of them alive, but he does get the surround in the end, so It looked like Polt was trying to do a little bit too cute micro there, not able to escape. And that's just what Life does with these Zerglings. Polt trying to move out with some Marines to clear his third base, suddenly has to retreat to his bunker. Now there's a siege tank to cover behind if there were any type of Baneling attacks to follow this up. But he has the wall. And Polt, he is moving into siege tanks. This is something that has been pushed a little bit more recently with the patch to increase the attack rate of siege tanks.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this decision to go tank Marine for Polt?
I personally find it very difficult to be able to pull this off. Widow Mines seem to be a lot easier for me to use. Tanks, especially against good Mutalisk players. They're going to be able to fly around, they're going to be able to pick them off. But I think it's really going to come down to, how well are these tank Marine pushes going to work out for him? How well does he control them? We'll have to see how well they're going to be used, these tanks.
Yeah, and he gets to get some Zerglings onto that third command center, starting to chew away at that. The Marines are coming up. Stim has just about completed, so he can get in, and if he has to do anything crazy, we'll be able to. But look at this 2-2 starting out for Life. The armory's only not even halfway done for Polt, so he's going to be delayed even more in the upgrade department as he's starting to get this third base saturated. That Spire, as you said, about halfway done now. A second factory being added on, and a little bit of Widowmine production has begun, so Polt might have only opened up with the siege things just for a little bit of defensive. I think sometimes losing your Hellions as a Terran player, you get scared of those Baneling counterattacks since you don't quite have that map control anymore.
Yeah, that's what it seems to be here with stopping that tank production, and looks like we'll be going over to full Widowmine production very, very shortly here. A little bit of a random reactor in the middle of that barracks there. A little bit of a mistake from Polt, but nothing too big to look upon here.
Yeah, I mean, he's just getting himself set up. You want to saturate that third base. I think the fifth gas guys are actually being taken by Polt in the third at this point in time is kind of interesting because he made that investment of gas into the siege tanks. Oftentimes, see Terran players stick on 4 gas for a very long time, as mostly Marines and Mines are very cheap on the gas and very heavy on the minerals. 2-2 has started for Polt, but the Mutalisks are starting to come out for Life, and this is where those siege tanks, the immobility, they're a little bit easier to snipe, as these Zerglings are already trying to position themselves around this force in the center.
Well, these Marines are going to push them back quite easily there. Combat shield's not quite ready, so these Marines aren't as strong as they would have liked to have been at this point, but pressure is starting to mount up on here as Startail Life has to get ready to deal with the fourth base. His own fourth base, as Polt has a destination in mind. He's going to be waypointing all his units. He's getting rid of creep spread in the middle, and the focus now from the Terran player will be coming down to that new base that Life is trying to establish.
It's one of the biggest focuses in Terran versus Zerg. You want to try to push out as you're getting those 2-2 upgrades. Denying the fourth base from the Zerg is so important. Life over 80 drones right now. If he gets this base up and can defend it and hang on to it beyond these attacks, his economy will be flourishing over Polt. He still has a good read on where the army position is, but Polt's also been splitting off a few forces to try to press back that creep at the same time. And as he steps forward, he has no Widow Mines. He needs to be very careful with how he takes this.
Yeah, well, he is going to stim back here. Off creep for now, and he will be edging more and more forward. But as you said, that base is being mined from now, and eventually there's going to be enough gas here for Startail Life to almost defend without Mutalisk, and the Mutalisk could actually go across the other side of the map and start doing other damage. So this is a very interesting point, and probably the most pivotal point of this game so far. How well is Life going to deal with it? He's looking for the tanks.
Yeah,
He's moving forwards.
Has the Widow Mine up front. He's trying to bait him back into the tanks, as those Mutalisks weren't able to find too much of a hold there. He's kept a couple Marines.
And he's coming around from the back as well now.
Going with the full surround. He's coming from all directions. Polt, the siege tank's not getting quite the shots they want as everything gets chewed apart here by the Startail Zerg player. This is exactly what Life wanted to do. Holds on to this fourth base with no problems whatsoever.
And a massive momentum swing here for the Startail player as he cleans up the first big wave of Polt. And now he has the freedom on that fourth base. He's got a lot of space now to be able to move around the map, get that creep spread going again. But we do see Polt pushing forward, not as strong as an army as he would have had before.
Yeah, and Life's just saying, hey, I'm going to go for the counterattack while you bring that up. And he's moving in. This fourth command center could get delayed as well. Taking out the bunker, breaking through. He's trying to get inside the natural as well. Trying to split some Zerglings off. A nice wall protects the third base of Polt. But with the Mutalisks, he's actually managing to break into this a little bit. The Medevacs also getting caught as they come out of the rally point. Baneling's running in. These Marines trying to defend. Not able to get on top of the SCVs, though. Polt bringing everything back. That wall at the third is going to be destroyed as well. So the Zerglings can spill in there. More Banelings on the way outside of the base. Even using the Contaminate on the barracks to limit the Marine production. And Polt has taken a lot of damage from this counterattack of Life, now finally getting on top of some of the SCVs at the third base.
Polt is on the ropes for the first time here at the DreamHack Winter 2013 as Life demolished his push and just pushed him all the way back home, and Life is controlling this 30-40 supply ahead of his opponent. And well, Polt is in trouble. He's dropped quite a bit there. His income has plummeted with SCVs dying on that third base. He's not too far behind in the SCV count, but a lot were pulled off. And behind this, more and more units are being made here for StarTale Life.
Yeah, a couple Widow Mines actually over outside of that fourth base. Grab a few Zerglings left there from the earlier push that he managed to bring. A nice little grab for Polt. And as you said, he's down about 60 or so SCVs. With 3 command centers, you can actually manage that. The attack could have gone far worse for Polt. He took some hits on his production, but he didn't actually lose any of the add-ons for his barracks. He can keep the Marine production rolling. What matters is holding this constant aggression that Life is going to bring. He's not heading for Hive Tech. He just wants to barrel through him off of just this lair play. The Widow Mines take some shots at the Mutas, and he's just going to barrel in here. The Marines spread out reasonably well, but I don't know if it's going to be enough, Apollo. He's bringing everything in here, and there's almost no units left outside the natural for Polt.
Well, Mulas do back off for now as a couple of Marines do survive here, and Life is playing very aggressive here, off creep, just looking for the victory right here, right now. Is he going to be able to do it, though? This does give maybe a glimmer of hope for Polt, as we are seeing him as a defensive player right now, but does he have enough production? Does he have enough units? They are streaming down here, and he is holding on for now. The supply difference still at 40 between them, but remember, 3 upgrades are on the way, so if Polt's able to survive long enough, there is definitely hope in it for the CM Storm player still.
Yeah, it's very important that Life doesn't overextend. He's continuing to bring mostly Zergling Mutalisk-based armies. He's very low on the Banelings, allowing these Marines to really dig into the meat of his composition.
It's funny because Life just could easily fall back, take a 5th, and tech to Hive. He doesn't really need to be doing this, but that's the option he's chosen. He wants to end it soon here, and that, could equalize the game up if he doesn't trade efficiently enough.
I think one thing that's been really nice for Life is this drop hitting the third base, trying to grab a few of these drones. Zerglings being split off. He's also going to send the Mutalisks to the main base at the same time. He's not even going to kill that many drones, but the production has been left bare. Once again, he's actually focusing on the starport, trying to just completely shut down the medevac production. You think without the reactor it's slow. It's going to get even worse now. That starport's so low, he will grab it before he escapes at the cost of nary a Mutalisk or 2. Polt, I think one of the most important things he needs to do is get a 4th base. He's got 2 command centers building. Acquiring that 4th base is one of the most important parts of the Terran versus Zerg to really just keep the bio flowing out. At this point, if he continues to harass the Mutalisks and contains Polt on those 3 bases, he's going to run out of money eventually.
Yeah, that's right. And the Mutalisks are quite a hefty number here as they go and pick off turrets like nothing. They've gotten into the SCV line here, but there are Marines coming on the left-hand side, and if Polt plays this nicely, maybe he could trap these Mutalisks. They're stuck at the back for now. It looks like they are going to fly out to the top left here as Polt is pushing down at the same time. And is he going to get to that 4th base here?
He's trying. Life at the same time wants to go for a counter swing at that 3rd base. One of the depots is down. He could get inside. The 4th base is under pressure. Polt will be able to pick this off, but what will he lose in the meantime? The Zerglings getting inside the 3rd base mineral line. The Mutalisks still pressing the main, keeping everything that Polt has back, and now spilling into the natural as well. Life is all over Polt in each of his bases.
Oh, and he's killing the economy. If he's able to pick off the army, it's going to be very difficult for Polt to replenish. Bailing hits are pretty good here. And it looks like Polt just barely has enough with a decent Marine push off at the back there. But to be honest, the economy's almost gone. It's 30 SCVs. There's a lot of drones here for Life.
He's really been stressing Polt's unit production, picking off the rest of these bioforces outside of his base. There's still Widow Mines kind of left just blocked into the ground, and he's been able to pick off a lot of random units moving across the map. But these medevacs, he can't afford to lose anything, like you said, Apollo.
Yeah.
The economy dropping at this point. There's nothing at the 3rd base right now for him. A couple of these Widow Mines managed to pick off a Queen delaying that creep spread, but now finally the Hive is coming in for Life. He's secured the base on the top left side, immediately saturated, 100%. And another thing that we should keep in mind looking into this is that while Polt lost a lot of workers, he still has a pretty strong army.
Yeah.
And with good Widow Mine hits, there's still a chance that he could get some really nice engagements and maybe lock down that 4th. Or I don't know quite how well he's going to be able to press, though, with how good this creep's been constantly on his side of the map.
Yeah, that was beautiful moves there from Life to destroy the army and the economy at the same time, basically. Really putting Polt in a difficult situation. Picking off a couple of loose units here. The Widow Mines have already been detonated at the front. There's a lot more Banelings at the back of this.
He tried to get this run. He does take out a large chunk of the army, but a huge swell of Marines actually stepped forward trying to chase this down. But Life says, I'm going to try to focus this command center. Not able to pick that off quite yet. He's still dancing around with these Mutalisks as Polt does move out the 4th command center. 46 Zerglings in production. The Hive is about to complete. Like you said, Polt has the upgrade advantage with the 3-3. Now that the Hive is done, it becomes a bit of a time game as to where Life can get the rest of his upgrades. Picking off the command center that's sitting in the main base, could even try to go for some add-ons. He's forcing all these Marines to chase, and again, Zerglings in the 3rd, killing the economy of Polt.
Yeah, Polt's down to 77 supply now. His SCVs are down all over the place. Command centers just getting picked off so fast with the +2 attack that these Mutalisks have. And Life is really, really just controlling this game. He's got his 5th base up. 3-3 on the way. We'll see the Ultras Cavern come down. I'm sure about that. And this is just getting almost out of control here for Polt. There's almost nothing he can do anymore. The economy's too strong, the army's too strong. Life has everything in his favor.
And he picks off the starport again. It's that production that's been hindered for Polt for so long. That 4th command center being killed. In fact, the main command center being killed. He only has basically these 2 orbitals now to rely on. He has built another one in his natural. He's going to try to fly this out. If Polt cannot secure this base, there's absolutely no way he can match the production of life. And the Mutalisks are just going to take these Marines head on, using the Contaminate to get on the barracks, limiting the production further, grabbing another medevac. And Polt's trying to press this away, but he has to keep his army split so much. And when his army's so small, that makes these Mutalisks so much more effective.
At this point, we haven't seen the Ultras cabin come down. He's just spending his gas on more Mutalisks and I'm sure more Banelings as well. Just looking for one big blow-up of Polt's army, really. With all these Banelings he's going to be able to make very shortly here. He's just going to go in, crash through, and hope to pick up the game. Polt trying everything possible to get back in. He's cornered these Mutalisks for now, but it's not that I'm scared of, it's this.
Yeah, this huge Zergling attack is coming in. So many Banelings with this force, at least 24 of them. And he has the 4th base landed, but it's not a planetary fortress. It doesn't have that built-in stable defense. The Banelings will come crashing through. These mules not going to last terribly long. In fact, that's it. Polt GG's out, and game number 1 will go to StarTale Life here at the DreamHack Winter.
The first game of the 2013 finale goes to StarTale Life here in this best of 3 in the group stages, Group A. And quite a dominant performance here for Life. A lot of people always doubting whether it will be the player that won 4 tournaments in 4 months, the last year's Life, or is it going to be the other one that has been struggling in the World Championship Series in Korea this year? There's always doubts surrounding his form, but so far, if anything is to go by, and it's game 1, it's not a bad performance here to kick things off.
It seems like the tournament winner is back on his he's in good shape for this match. And Polt, one of the players that a lot of people would say probably one of the better Terran versus Zerg players, especially in the WCS. So coming out here and basically getting manhandled. There wasn't any cheeky aggression that happened. He got the early Zerglings in, but that wasn't enough to give Life that guaranteed edge in this game. So he's really just shown in a straight up game that Polt, he's having a little trouble so far dealing with him.
And there you go, you've got to tell which pro gamer is which by their hairs, as you can't quite see over their monitors. But Naniwa, by the way, is also playing at the same time as this game which is going on. He's playing up against Patience, which is another player that made it through the online qualifiers, playing for Team Azubu. Naniwa did take map number 1, so he's also started his journey here at DreamHack Winter quite well, and we'll continue through with this series very shortly. The next map is going to be over to Belshir Vestige. For being, playing and practicing so much Terran recently, if you were to go, you look at Polt's playstyle in that last game and be like, all right, what was the number 1 thing that went wrong? What do you think that would be for him?
I mean, Polt's push over towards that 4th base, he had a lot of his bio split away from the actual attacking force, either trying to get the creep spread or holding off Life's endless Zergling counterattacks. Getting surrounded like that, going for the tank play, if you can't make the tanks work, they kind of become a liability since you want to leave units there to protect them. And I think that Polt, unless he 100% sees something like a Roach Warren go down very early on, I doubt we'll get those tanks early again. The map is smaller. It's a bit easier to control space with those units, but that also means that there's a lot less distance that Life has to go to make those counterattacks work.
All right, well, TLO currently, as we just saw on screen, waiting for his next opponent, waiting for one of these 2 players, and then he'll be playing his first game of the day. MMA has started up and is currently leading in Group B, that is. If you are following on the other streams, there are other streams here at DreamHack TV that you can watch the other games on. By the looks of it, MMA opened up his tournament with a 1-0 lead up against JYP. And then another result that I can see is... No, I've mentioned all the results. No, actually another one just came in. Patience did take the second map away from Naniwa, which means they're going to the 3rd one in that best of 3. But here on the mainstream, we are following StarTale Life, the 16-year-old that has more trophies to his name than I can count. I think it's up to 5-6 big tournament wins now. The most recent one being in the Intel Extreme Masters New York, where he played ever so well. Yeah. And we got to watch him play there. But Polt, no stranger to tournament victories either.
Yeah, I mean, both of these guys really champions in their own right, taking championships in Korea, taking championships in Europe, and now in North America as well. But we're loading into the game. Belshir Vestige is the setting for map number 2. And this Polt, he needs to crank it up a notch to take back this series. But here we are in spawning in the top left position. The red Zerg player from Team StarTale, he's up 1-0 in this best of 3. Can he close it out? It is Life. Played so well in that first game. His trademark Zerglings buying him an edge. every which way, but now his opponent down 0-1. Can he bring it back? From Team CM Storm, the Blue Terran, it is Polt.
The biggest StarCraft 2 tournament that DreamHack has ever seen. DreamHack Bucharest was big. Well, this is probably bigger. This is absolutely incredible. 19 of the best players here at DreamHack Winter. Some massive names being played later on as well. We've got the likes of Innovation, Hero, Tasia, MMA's playing now. We've got Life and Polt in this group. And for any of you just now tuning in, as you may have been watching the Intel Extreme Masters just now, we are currently just in the first game of the day here at DreamHack Winter in Group A, which consists of Hyun, Naniwa, Lucifron, TLO, and Patience. Some of the fans did say this is one of the softer groups here of the DreamHack Winter, but they are playing for a top 4 finish. The first 2 players in this group will go to the winner's bracket round 1 in the playoffs, which will be played tomorrow. The 3rd and 4th place will go to the losers round 1. 5th place, unfortunately, will be eliminated. We will have players eliminated already here at day 1.
It's a shame, but not everybody can win the tournament, unfortunately. As good as all of these players are, but I have to say, I think it gives a nice edge to some of the other players in these groups that are going to have a bit more of a rough time. But we are back into this game. We're ready to rock and roll with this. How do you feel about this map and the way that Life likes to play? He has that very fast style, but does the map being smaller, more condensed, make it easier for Polt to keep track of him?
Yes and no, actually, because I think that it is easier for Life to get run-bys on this map. There's a lot of different areas, but because the map is so small, it's not as difficult here for Polt to really zone his defense up. If he is able to wall off the 3rd base, bunkers, a couple supply depots, with a mine or 2, cutting off that angle, and then if he focuses on the right-hand side or the left-hand side, depending on which way he wants to go, I don't think it will be too difficult for Polt, and it just comes down to himself, really, in his own defense.
Yeah, and he's actually, Life, just playing it carefully. He's moved out a very fast drone to scout, and Polt's not doing anything unusual. He has the barracks on the way. He's getting that fast gas as well. Polt's one of those players in a Terran versus Zerg matchup, almost always goes Reaper every single game. Just likes to have that, as you said, map control, kind of like the way that Life likes to open with his gas as the hatchery starts back. The drone doing some nice harass on this barracks, but won't really be able to delay it as Polt's brought another SCV to defend it. And there is the gas after the hatchery for Life. So very similar openers to last game.
Yeah, very similar. Going to be a little bit scary there for Polt once he finally finds out that extractor is down. Of course, I think a lot of Terran players, once they go into the main base of the Zerg player and see, well, there's no extractors, there is no gas being mined. Great news. There is nothing coming towards me that could threaten the game. And for Polt, threaten the series. So that will be something, once he finally spots it, that'll be going through his mind here.
Yeah, you make a great point. As a Terran, you love having the opportunity to just harass with the Reapers until they have a good number of Queens out to push you away. That Zergling speed means he can't even sit around and try to poke at the drones. He can't poke at the Queens and use the Reaper regeneration to deal damage. No, he has to sit back, and then you kind of feel like, well, maybe if I didn't open with Reapers, I'd have a bit more economy since I can't actually do any damage with this. The one nice thing, of course, is that he has the fast scouting from the Reaper, but against Life, he really likes to stick to this style. He gets the fast Zerglings, not as often with any type of Roach Baneling play. He just likes to have that speed early on. Yeah,
and with the benefits of getting speed early on, of course, he does put Polt in a bit of a precarious position because he doesn't really know what's coming at him. And he does threaten the aggression, is able to push the Reapers back, but in kind of the downside of it, it's just hurt his economy just a little bit. He doesn't have the best economy, he doesn't have all the Queens out as fast as he could have. And honestly, there are 2 different styles, and that's the one he's gone for.
Yeah, this Reaper just coming up here, poking as much as he can against these Zerglings. Very, very common, typical that we see from Polt, pretty much every Terran. If you can get anything with this Reaper, it's always nice. And the Queen will come out. This basically signals the end of it. He's got the second Reaper over here now. Might be able to grab one of these drones moving down. He will grab, no, very, very nice. Makes the switch into the Spore Crawler just to keep that drone hidden as it tries to turn to the building. There's the cancel, and Polt's being very aggressive with these Reapers, trying to get something for his money at the start of the game.
I'm not sure if he went into the base to check the extractor, or at least if speed was being researched, but he's got a countdown, just over 6 minutes. Speed will be done. He has spotted it, so he does know that he's going to have to back off with these Reapers very shortly here. And does begin the bunker and supply depot back at home to begin that wall off, and he does there decide to retreat. Doesn't want to lose these just like that. It's a waste, it's a mistake, you could say, and not going to happen.
Yeah, keeping the Reapers and Hellions alive is so important. As you said in the last game, there's always that threat. A player like Life could go for it. If you grab all the Hellions and the Reapers at the very early stages, suddenly, without that map presence, how does the Terran know what you're doing? It's so easy to put the tech in one, either the main base or the natural, that a scan doesn't guarantee you safety. Polt has the starport coming up again. He has the tech lab being built on that barracks, but the tech lab very far from the starport. I think he might just go for stim and do the standard opening with that Viking.
Yeah, he's got a reactor on the starport this time, so we'll have a look at that here, as he is continuing to build Hellions for now. But the one thing to note is Life did spot that the second gas is down. And so once you see that the second gas is down here, as mentioned earlier, he does know the multiple options which are available. So, like I mentioned earlier, it's either going to be a Banshee or Armory. We do see Hellbats come out to play here and now. I think MVP's a player that does like to do that a lot. But Life hasn't got any extra information apart from these two gases right now. This could surprise him, what we're seeing.
Yeah, a couple SCVs showing their love to that mule in the mineral line.
Yeah.
But Polt with this fast reactor on the starport. This is actually really interesting. He has the Viking coming out now, and this actually reminds me of a build he recently did. I believe it was against Solar in the Daily Motion Cup. He actually got the Viking, used the reactor to get a very fast 2 medevacs, and then went with a mine drop with the Marauders using that early stim upgrade. Yep. So he'll come in here and see this, and he's still opening up with the Viking to deny the scouting, but by getting the reactor that early, this gives Life a bit more information. You see a reactor on a starport this early on, he doesn't have enough infrastructure to swap it to something like a barracks. He has to be doing something a little bit cheeky with it. As the Reapers and Hellions start to poke up, not really able to delay these creep tumors too much, does get one with the splash, and he's actually hurting these queens quite a lot. This is one of those things those speedlings help out a lot with, as he has 12 more on the way, but might be able to pick off a queen. Very nice control from Polt, does grab one, and now the Zerglings come in to shoo the rest of these units away. 1-1 upgrade starting as well at the same time for Life.
And a very early Baneling nest in retaliation to this early reactor on the starport here. He's kind of identified the build of what Polt's chosen to do, so he hadn't just saw the second gas and then guessed on what he could be seeing. He's gone in, he's found out, and now he's starting to build a defense ready. He's added on and squeezed out a couple more drones, but the limb production will begin. He realizes the threat of stim is imminent here. It's about 30 seconds, 40 seconds away, and once that's complete, there are Marauders, there are a lot of Marines out, but for now, we do see quite a lot of Hellions here. There is no Roach Warren, there are no Roaches. How good are these Lings going to connect? The Roach Warren has come down very, very late here, but Polt has an opportunity to get a lot of damage dealt.
I mean, if anybody's Zerglings can deal with this many Hellions, it is Life. He's starting to press up towards the natural. He has that drop with the Marauders. No second medevac play here, just using that reactor for the barracks later on. And now he's coming in. The drones are already being pulled away, so Polt's actually kind of scaring Life a little bit. Banelings are being morphed. He needs some good connections on these Hellions. Very difficult to grab with the Banelings when they don't have that speed upgrade. And look at these Marauders. Stim's going to be done in just a few seconds' time. He's actually trying to take out this hatchery. He's doing quite a bit of damage to it.
Oh, and a surround tries to come in here from Life, but as Polt moves off creep here, it's going to be very difficult to get the engagement down. A couple of slow Banelings aren't going to do anything here either. And Polt is going to push through the initial wave of the Zerg.
Yeah, takes out a lot of these forces. He's still forcing out pure Zerglings. Keep in mind, this third base is only half saturated. He is denying economy from Life, grabbing a few more of these Zerglings as he steps back. These queens are getting quite low on health, but Life is doing as much as he can to buy himself the time he needs to get these Roaches out. 1-1 is very close. 8 Roaches are about to pop out as well, and he's just doing everything he can to force him back. Behind this, Polt's actually building siege tanks again. He's already preparing for the potential counterattack of Roach Baneling.
I think that was very well done there by StarCraft Life, not to let his opponent breach his economy. He kept him waiting with the consistent reinforcements, and now with the Roaches out here, the Hellion threat is not big. It's non-existent now for Life. And with the upgrades that were built so early or upgraded so early from him, he's in a pretty decent position, I'd say. That was a pretty solid hold there from Life.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting the direction that this game is taking. He's getting the Roach speed as well, kind of wondering how much he's going to stay committed to that. Some players like Hyun prefer the Zergling Roach Baneling composition, as he also starts up his +2.
Being at Lair and no Spire coming down.
Yeah.
I mean, with Roach speed being researched, if he gets +2 carapace, which he should be getting, by the way, we could see him kind of return the favor here. And imagine a big swell of Zerglings, Roaches, and speed Banelings here.
And speaking of Zerglings, he gets on top of these SCVs, transferring over towards the third base. Life is just on top of everything with spotting these units coming in. Polt moves some Marines and Marauders down. Delayed a little bit. Nothing serious as this Viking still continues to patrol the map, but Polt's got his third planted.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the way that he opened up with these 3 siege tanks, these are going to be very useful if Life tries to bring any type of attack in when +2 or when Baneling speed completes.
I can't help but feel this is the way that Life's decided to go down. Without the Spire, he's got so much excess gas. Imagine when the Spire is done. It's 200 gas for the Spire itself. It's 100 for the +1 attack. And then let's say 10, random 10 Mutalisks. That's a lot of gas that can be thrown into a high Baneling count. Extra Roaches here. But we do see Polt moving out. This is very dangerous considering the circumstances of what we've got coming here.
I think one of the nice things for Polt is that early pressure kind of slowed the spread of the creep. It's just now pushing out towards where that potential fourth base might want to go. But this also makes getting to those siege tanks more and more difficult. And this is one of those compositions that siege tanks, generally speaking, get much more favorable trades against. Baneling speed is not done yet. He's still about 30 seconds off of that. There's a really nice potential here for Polt to just poke him out and draw everything in. He's going for this round, hitting the left side as well. But without that Baneling speed, it's so difficult to catch the bio. Polt, he may just lose one siege tank, if that, as he continues to just push him back. He's got him on his knees here at the third base. 36 Zerglings are on the way. Baneling speed's about to complete. Still a minute away from the 2-2. Polt just starting his 2-2. Nice Zergling flank, picks off one of the siege tanks. Might be able to grab the second. And this is what Life needs to do. Slow this push down. That immobility of the siege tanks, very difficult to keep them alive.
With all these upgrades about to complete here, I think Polt's treading a very dangerous water. It was a great move there right before Life was ready, but with 2-2 about to complete, with Roach speed done, now Baneling speed done, these units with only one medivac, there is no evacuation, there's no escape here for these units. There's 3 more medivacs coming in. Okay, that's nice because they will be able to get out of there. But this is a bit of a sticky situation of counterattack being launched here by Life as well down the left flank.
And it's also important to consider that Life secured his fourth base. Polt, typically speaking, we see Zerg players go for this right side fourth, but I mean, he doesn't have to take the base there. He's going to have, as you stated, those upgrades to help him blast through soon enough. We have Mutalisks now coming out, 6 of them in production. Widowmine on the left side, and Polt should actually find this army. He should find this hatchery, but with his forces divided like this, I don't know if he can overwhelm what Life has right now.
Well, Life's coming in from both sides. They're looking for a full surround. Most of these units will probably have to get picked up here. It is 2-2 versus 1-1, trading as much as he can before he has to pick up. And so far, we do have Polt with a bit of a supply lead, just a little bit here, as we do see Life starting to catch up. But I feel like Life is ready to pounce at any moment here. It's just when does he strike?
Yeah, I mean, one of the nice things for Polt, at least as far as this game goes, is it's the earlier stages have gone so much better for him. He hasn't taken quite as many losses, so in the straight-up head-to-head fights, it's going to be a little bit more even than we saw on Derelict Watcher. Can he make it work? Baneling comes in. He's trying to use these Mutalisks a little bit. He hasn't actually fully committed to attacking this. I feel like his units might have just been baited out by Polt, which is really nice if he can get those small groups of trades. But now everything comes in. The Zerglings from the right side, the Banelings and Roaches on the left, the Medivacs boost, trying to evac what he can. The Marauder takes a couple of these shots on the Banelings, and the reinforcements arrive. The Widowmines coming in as well. Drilling Claws about to complete to give them that faster burrow, and Polt is bringing the pressure as hard as possible to this fourth base of Life.
And the advantage of the upgrades is not going to carry Life through here, is in seconds time. 2-2 will complete here from Polt. Give him a nice, well, kind of equalizing the situation here. The trades aren't going to be going in favor of Life, who is going to go in one more time. There are Widowmines here, but it's still off creep. And he is pushing through quite nicely here.
Yeah, there's a lot of Medivacs here as well. If the Mutalisks can catch those, would be really, really good. Polt bringing the next wave of units out on the field to try to protect against these. And Life's just kind of switched into this regular Mutalisk, Zergling, Baneling style. Polt getting a lot more mines. This is getting a little bit more that normal Terran versus Zerg that we've come to expect over the last couple of months. But Life securing that fourth base once again presents itself as an issue to Polt, who now has his own fourth command center. It's quite crucial. The fourth base is almost one of the crux of the Terran versus Zerg for both players.
Yeah, I mean, without creep spread, though, it is going to be a lot more difficult to defend this this location. Tanks and Widowmines are going to be able to siege, well, not really siege, but I guess plant themselves beneath that high ground of the fourth base. And it's going to be very difficult for Life to engage in, too, as we do have +3/3 or +3 attack and +3 armor on the way now, or will be on the way here for Polt in a couple of seconds' time. A small little bit of diversity here with these few Marines.
Yeah, tries at the top right side. There are Banelings here. The Queen transfuses the Spine Crawler. Nothing doing there. A little bit of aggression from Polt, but not able to make anything happen. He throws the scan, wants to see what awaits him at the top here. The Mutalisks are sitting on the left side, and here's that fourth command center under attack. There's nothing here to repair it. No missile turrets. Turning into the Planetary Fortress. The Bio's rushing back to try to save it. Even contaminates it. Is he going to be able to pick it off? It's so low. 50 health. Does deny the fourth base once again, and Polt already has another fourth command center about to complete, but that's not the way you want to take your fourth base.
Yeah, that's a really good pickoff there from Life. Being able to keep his fourth base for now and being able to pick off Polt's will slow down his income for a little bit here, but it looks like Life is almost ready to fight here. A couple of Banelings and Lynx do stroll forward, but that's not all of them. I think he's going to come in. There's a lot of Widowmines, though. Are they going to make the difference?
And I love the position that Life has. He's kept a couple of Zerglings and Banelings on the right side constantly. The second Polt goes up that ramp, he's going to get sandwiched from both directions. Another Medivac does get sniped off, and Life is just sitting here comfortably, just bolstering his forces. Now the Infestation Pit's on the way. He can move up to the Hive in the 3-3. And is he going to commit down this ramp? It looks like he's getting a lot of his units in with the Mutalisks. The Banelings detonating on almost all of these Marines. The wave of reinforcements, though, from Polt could be enough to shove this back. More Banelings are in production, but there's not too many here to help hold this attack.
And is he going to be able to hold this position? It's very important for Life to be able to do so. 3 Banelings come rolling in. What are they going to connect with? Nothing, as Polt does spread his units. The Mutalisks, though, are still at a high number. But with more and more Marines streaming across, likewise is 50, or there were just 50 Zerglings in the production tab. And Polt does not have a lot left there, Nathanius.
No, the reinforcements haven't arrived yet. These forces are going to be driven back. The Widowmine's getting a couple of pot shots, but does manage to connect with a lot of these Banelings, and that's going to be nice for keeping him from chasing him down the map. Polt has 3 command centers about to complete. He's finally planted that 4th base again. Needs to get up some missile turret defense there in the event that Life goes for further attacks, but there's actually no overseers with this army. He has lost them. He needs to replace them, allowing these Widowmines to really do a lot more damage than they probably should have, Apollo.
And well, Polt is really pushing into this space. He knows it's very vital to bring it down, but I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to break it. He's got so few units here, as we can see on screen at the moment. A couple of Widowmine hits do go off, but this Mutalisk count has been microed excellently so far. And oh, good Baneling hits come in there. And oh, even Widowmines detonating on their own Marines, as we see Life push this back once again, taking quite a substantial lead.
And the pendulum starting to swing in Life's favor as he teeter-totters towards Polt's base. There's not enough Marines to stave off these Mutalisks just yet. Another wave of reinforcements will buy him some time, but 22 Banelings on the production tab, 26 Zerglings. The Hive is on the way. 7 more Mutalisks. Life is just pumping out so much of this lair tech, saying, I'm going to beat you with the engagements, with the control, and not rely so much on that tech. But Polt does have 4 missile turrets being built at the 4th base. He has it secured. With the mules there, he can really just churn out so many more bio units than we saw on Derelict Watcher. And if he can continue to get half-decent engagements, he can still pull his way back. He's trying to get the 5th base now. The Mutalisks are going to try to chase the Marines to see who can basically get there to defend or kill it first.
If only that +3 armor had been researched at the same time as +3 attack, it would have helped out Polt quite a bit in some of these fights. So that +3 attack's been done for a while here. That command center does get away with its life, is quite low. But these Mutalisks are a pain in the backside here from Polt. 15 more Banelings getting morphed in here. That's a lot. But he is at Hive now, isn't he, if I'm not mistaken? So
yeah,
he will be able to get that 3-3. He can start to move his tech around a little bit. But 46 Banelings out. Are there even enough Widowmines to help against all that?
He's got 11 of them on the field. I mean, with perfect shots, he could make something work, but Life is just getting everything sent to this 5th base before the planetary fortress is done.
Yeah, he's going to the 5th.
Yeah, he's just trying to split Polt's attention. He does manage to keep the 4th base alive. The 5th base takes a huge hit, just uses the Banelings to kill the planetary, and these bio, trying to split as much as they can, will be able to pick off most of what's here. So at the very least, Life keeping himself on a base advantage. He has cleaned up the missile turrets, so if Polt doesn't replace these and moves these units away, suddenly those Mutalisks can come back and clean up this mineral line in a matter of seconds.
And because he spent so much gas Banelings to launch those attacks, he's decided, well, let's just go forward with the Mutalisks. Let me just buy myself a little bit more time to get a couple more Banelings out here, because he knows that a counterattack could have been very possible there from Polt after throwing so many Banelings at that command center. He's bought himself more time. He's got 4 Infestors on the way, as well as those 3-3 upgrades. And these Mutalisks will escape taking a couple of hits there from those turrets. But Life is playing some good StarCraft here.
Yeah, he really is. Kind of interested to see how he chooses to use these Infestors. Mostly just lock down the army, I suppose, on the defensive side of things. He doesn't have pathogen glands, so won't be able to fungal immediately. In the meantime, high-sec auto-tracking in the production tab for Polt basically wants these missile turrets to start shooting faster at the Mutalisks to get that extra 1 range so he can do a little bit more damage. Flying through the minefield, nice couple shots for Polt. He still has his 4th outside the 5th base, but this command center taking damage once. Again, he's actually getting a lot of Mutalisk losses trying to take this down.
He knows that it's very important to keep Polt away from this 5th base. It's obviously Life is playing well and he is driving the game a little bit, but if Polt was able to establish that 5th base, it could immediately change as even more Mutalisks get picked off now, and this could open an opportunity for Polt to start to get aggressive himself. He's got a supply lead, but remember those Infestors with a couple of good fungals, as he does decide to get pathogen glands now to increase their energy a little bit more when they pop out. But with the correct fungals, the correct Baneling hits here, this could immediately switch direction in who it favors.
Yeah, I really like the mine setup that Polt has on the right side of the field, covering himself against these counter-attacking flanks. These Zerglings and Banelings just getting shot at for free at this point by Polt. He's got 20 mines on the field, and he's still keeping this aggressive stance. But like you said, Apollo, I think he really needs to find a way to get onto this 5th base if possible. But these fungal growths could be game-changing if the Banelings can get on top of the bio. Now the Infestor's just about to get that energy for the fungals. Throws out 1, hits a single Marine, and Polt's spread is too good for him to grab him with the area of effect damage.
And this is not working out too well here from Life. He's getting a lot of the front side of this army, but there's a lot more Marines where they come from, and here they come charging through. And there's only a couple of Banelings left. Great back and forth splits, great spread, great movement here from Polt as he edges forward. And he may be able to crack the Startail player here. And well, he's decided, yes, he may crack him, so he goes for a counterattack. Not too sure how this is going to work.
I mean, Polt's got building armor on this planetary fortress. He really needs the Banelings to prevent a repair from happening on those SCVs. Does take out a good chunk of them. The Infestors here as well. He'll kill off that 4th base, but losing his 5th in turn. And now Polt pressing in towards the 3rd. Just a couple of Infestors. Some Banelings are on the way to try to defend this. And Life just going all the way with this counterattack, heading towards the natural expansion. Polt's rallied units are taking these out as well, but he really needs to get this force out of his 3rd base.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a difficult situation here from Life. There's a lot of bunkered up units here. There's rallied out Marines that are coming every couple of seconds here because of that 5th base, or now 4th base. Here comes maybe the final attack for Life as he tries to defend away, but is he going to be able to get rid of the Marines? It's hard to tell. There's a couple still left under these medivacs, but with so many medivacs, they do stay healed.
There's 3 times as many medivacs as there are bio units under them right now, Apollo. He's got the cloud of healing over him, taking out the 3rd base. GG from Life, and Polt ties the series up 1-1.
A great game there from Polt, giving it everything he had. An awesome series this is turning out to be. Game 1 in favor of Life, Game 2 in favor of Polt. And of course, we'll be going over to Game 3 in a couple of moments' time. That was a pretty cool game there on Belshir Vestige.
Yeah, I like it. Polt really stepping it up. He, going for a little bit more aggression. He put out a few more Hellions than we saw in the first game, added in the Marauder drop, and basically said, I don't want you to get comfortable just sitting on heavy Zerglings. You will need to make something else. Those Roaches, Life didn't commit to them as much as we thought he might have with the Roach speed, so making that Mutalisk transition so late really allowed Polt to get his production set up, and also that critical 4th base.
Well, there is Startail Life, just having a bit of a stretch before he gets ready for map number 3 here. Just looking at some other results that are going on within Group A, which is where these players are both currently playing. Patience actually managed to take out Naniwa 2-1. So Naniwa does drop his first series within that group. TLO will be going up against Lucifron, who lost versus Hyun 0-2, which some may say is expected there, with Hyun being such a dominant player, a DreamHack champion this year. But as we do start to see, results are coming through thick and fast. I mean, look at this. We're getting through this group quite fast, actually. I mean, these games are coming in at a rapid speed here. Who do you think takes this next one, though, between these two players? Who do you think's been playing better overall? It is very difficult to tell.
So the map's Polar Night, and looking at Terran versus Zerg on this map, the way that Polt likes to play, opening with the Reaper Hellion is definitely going to be good for him if Life goes for any type of fast 3rd base. It's difficult to get the creep spread from the natural to the 3rd on Polar Night. But looking at the later stages, it's also very difficult for the Terran player to defend the attacks coming into both the natural and their own 3rd base because of that distance. So it's not something that you can wall off with supply depots. It's not like Belshir Vestige. 5 depots won't save your 3rd base from Zergling attacks, which means that Life has a really nice opportunity to bring and turn up the heat of his own.
All right, well, we'll see how this is going to shape up here. This would be their first series of the day at DreamHack Winter, and it is always good to kick off your tournament with a victory. It makes things a lot less stressful as you go into the 2nd and 3rd series. And do remember that 4 players out of 5 will be advancing from this group to the playoffs, which will be played out tomorrow. At the same time, though, there are games going on in Group B, which are being covered on other streams you can find at DreamHack TV or DreamHack.tv. And there's a lot more streams. There's a lot of awesome games. Of course, this is the DreamHack Winter, the conclusion of 2013 in StarCraft 2.
And it's time for the conclusion of our first best of 3. We are on Polar Night, spawning in the bottom position as the red Terran player who just evened up the series 1-1 from Cooler Master Storm. It is Polt. Showing that he's not one to go down easily, but he's got to finish the series against this guy in the top position. As the blue Zerg player from Team Startail, it is Life.
Yeah, Life's had an interesting year, really, hasn't he? He started off pretty strong when Heart of the Swarm was released with his MLG victory right on the release of Heart of the Swarm, but from that, he did start to slow down a little bit. Wasn't performing to the same caliber. Arguably was in a slump, and I think he agreed that he was in a slump through most of the summer months, but he was able to turn things around. Coming to DreamHack Summer was one of the first times that he turned that losing streak around, finishing in the round of 8, and of course the all-important round of 4 at DreamHack Bucharest, which enabled him to come to this tournament. and then finished up in October with a first-place finish at New York, which nobody really expected to see from him.
Yeah, that was. I mean, he's one of those players that I feel like you just can't count him out. No matter what his results are, he can just roll in basically at any point and just take out the biggest names that you have at the tournament. So I'm not really surprised that we have this kind of result. Either player that wins or loses this has definitely earned it. This has been a pretty good series so far. And we're seeing very similar openings that we have in the first two games. Polt opening up with the Reaper again. He's got the Barracks and the Gas. I wanted to ask your opinion, though, at least from the Zerg side of things with Life, as far as the fourth base on this map goes, I feel like it'd be a lot harder for Polt to make that aggression that he tries to bring work if he takes the back fourth. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I've actually seen a lot of players try that, especially because the way that Life plays is very, like, it's two-directional, because he comes down one side and attacks the other. We saw it on Belshir Vestige, where he sends the Mulus on one side, sends a massive wave of Zergling and Balings on the other. That back fourth base could be quite important in this game if the game goes on for a long time.
Yeah, it's just one of the interesting things to think about, because Terran versus Zerg does revolve so much around, as a Terran player, you want to situate your third base, get the defenses safe, which I think is harder to do on this map as a Terran versus a Zerg, and then bring the pressure to the Zerg fourth. And if you have that back pocket fourth, then it's just so much more difficult. As a Terran, you kind of have to choose, like, well, where do I want to attack from? Because the Zerg can just kind of keep their army between that natural and that third. I do think one of the other interesting things to point out on this map is that there's just so much drop space for not only the Marines and the Medevacs in the later stages, but the Mutalisks as well. It's going to be very difficult if Life gets that harassment level that we saw in game number 1 as he did against Polt.
All right, well, Reaper is now moving up to the other side of the map here. And he's going to get a first bit of look into this game and what he's expecting. He's going to poke up to the ramp into the main base, and he's going to have a look for that gas, as every single game so far Life has decided to get that extractor, and he does see that Zergling speed has been researched.
Yeah, Polt manages to kill a drone too, a little bit more than it's more than he got in the first two games with that Reaper, so always nice to get yourself at least some kind of an edge at the beginning of the game. He has the command center in the factory on the way back home. I'm kind of wondering if we'll see him go back into that Hellion Banshee setup that we saw in Derelict Watcher, or if he'll, with the Marauder Viking Medevac opening that we saw on Belshir Vestige, as the Zergling speed does come about halfway.
Yeah, that's one of the... I mean, if you look at Polar Knight, it's not a very big map. The Overlords are in very good locations. And I think that if Polt was to do something a little bit quirky, Marauder Hellion, something along those lines, it could be a bit more difficult to pull off, because there's Overlords, they can poke in very easily, can scout out, can find it, and I don't think Life is going to really miss that kind of opportunity to scout such vital information.
Yeah, and as the Zergling speed comes pretty close to completion, the drone's going to move out towards that third base, and this is kind of what I was mentioning earlier. If Polt brings heavy pressure to this base, Life has just laid his first creep tumor outside of his natural expansion, so he can start to get a little bit closer towards that third, but the Queens move very slow off of the creep, and Hellion Reaper at very fast play. The Starport's coming in, though, as well as that second gas, so at the very least, Polt will get that Viking play. No tech lab yet on the Barracks, and it's not quite close to that Starport. I always feel like the Starport positioning gives a little bit of a tell to where the Terran player wants to put the add-on.
Well, the Reapers have run home, knowing that at 6-minute mark, the Zergling speed will be done, which it is. And Life is now going back into gas. So far, so standard here from Life. Looks like he will be starting to mine ready to get his evolution chambers down and upgrades most likely here. But we are seeing extra barracks being added on here from Polt inside his main base here, an extra single one for now. Yeah, and this is very standard of him. It's what he likes to do. But I think that Overlord, it did poke in, and it did see that reactor on the Starport once again. Some good information, very easily picked up there by Life.
It's kind of interesting the way that Polt's been playing this. I guess he's most likely just going to get the Viking out again. He doesn't have any type of Marauder production getting ready for a drop. But this is what I was talking about. He's getting on top of this third base. Ooh. The Queen positioning can be abused a little bit. He has 3 Queens moving out to try to defend this third. There are a few Speedlings tucked towards the top if Polt tries to run towards the north side. But at the very least, he can do a good bit of damage to this hatchery. It has managed to finish up there without too much trouble. Roach Warren is on the way, as well as 2 Evolution Chambers.
Yeah, much faster than the previous game on Belshir Vestige. He's seen the same build as the last map, or pretty much the same build. And he's decided, well, Roaches would have helped out quite a lot if they were earlier into this game. He's decided to go for them here.
I really like the timing on the second Barracks for Polt, though. He doesn't have any of his engineering bays yet, but with this Starport and the second, having that reactor in the stim, he could go for a very fast stim attack, drop follow-up before there's Mutalisks in the field. And I think with the Roaches, this drop play is going to be even stronger as the Viking does come out. But keeping the pressure with the Hellions and the Reapers, not able to really do too much more as the creep has finally connected all 3 bases. So
getting the damage in becomes a bit more difficult. And now Polt, I think, this is where the trouble comes in as far as the third goes, but he doesn't even have his third command center started.
That's the thing with Polt's playstyle right now is he is investing a lot of his early money into dealing damage. He has to deal damage here. He doesn't have those engineering bays. He's only just now throwing down the third command center, where we have 1-1 well on its way here for life. So with this next attack, when Stim is finished, as these medivacs come out the starport, we're going to need to see some damage from Polt. Otherwise, things could get out of control for him.
Yeah, he's just started the engineering base, so his 1-1 will be getting after Life's already halfway done. Life has his lair on the way as well, so he can move into a very fast 2-2 if Polt doesn't do that damage, as you stated. There's a lot of queens here for Life here to defend. He has 7 queens on the map, and that only allows for a crazy amount of creep spread, but he has the transfuses as well if he does take any damage. Drone count pretty close to the SCV count, so how much can Polt force out of him is the question. 2 medevacs headed towards the main base. The Zerglings are already getting into position. Baneling Nest is halfway done, but if he can prevent the bio from dropping, then there's not really too much that Polt can do. He's bringing everything, and he's forced to pick up.
Well, so far, not so well for Polt here as he tries to drop inside that main base. Nothing achieved yet. He is going to bring units together, though. It is going to try again with the Hellions in support, but there's 5 queens and a lot of Zerglings there as well. The Widowmine immediately picked off, and it looks like Life should be able to push this back quite easily. Roach is on the low ground, dealing damage to the Hellions as well.
Yeah, Polt's not having any luck with this so far. The transfuses on the queens, keeping all of them alive. He's done pretty much no damage. And the Roach is picking off a lot of the fast mobile units that he has, so Polt's map control going away as well. The third command center is complete. He's making the orbital now. He's going to be moving into the, 1-1's almost halfway done. But Life starting his 2-2. Tries to get the scan and grab some creep tumors and will lose even more units. Life just seems untouchable so far this game.
Yeah, excellent play here from Life, and it looks like he's the one that is going to first take the back base. And if we look at the recent Terran style and how they like to waypoint towards their opponent's 4th base, well, if your opponent's 4th base is behind them, it's going to be very difficult to breach it. And as long as he focuses on his creep spread around the 3rd, this is setting up to be a good game here from Life. As long as he keeps his defense up against these medivacs before the Mutalisks are out, which so far as we can see is working out quite well for him.
Yeah, I mean, Life's just in a dominant position. He's ahead on the upgrades, he's ahead on the bases, and at this point he's ahead on the army because of the trades he's been able to get. Polt has a couple of siege tanks laid out defensively, or at least one in his main base, try to cover this arc outside the 3rd, but this space is so open. Life's Overlord sees this command center come in towards the 3rd. He knows this base is here. Now he can start doing the run-by play. He could even try to hit the natural expansion from the left side. Polt's pressing out onto the map. His combat shield is about 20 seconds away. But he really needs to do damage to this next attack.
Yeah, this is becoming a very easy game to look at here. Polt's going to just push down this one angle. It's all that Life really needs to think about and defend about. As well as that, I guess there is the options of drops towards the main base, but covering both of those bases, this is a good position for Life to be in here. It really depends on how much Polt can get done with these movements out like this.
And I really like how the queens have just focused on these medevacs so much. They're so low on health. It's very difficult for Polt to just do what a lot of Terran players do, make that hot pickup because there's no Mutalisks around. And picking off another medevac, being chased back, this bio is so low because there's so little healing power for the Marines.
And Polt is sticking around. He does not want that creep to get replenished there, as he knows it's important to keep the creep away. But as the queens just move back, they're going to keep putting those tumors down, and Life keeps the creep on the high ground for now, and he wants to keep that going. It's going to give him a lot better of an engagement to Polt. And with his 3rd base out here, the 3rd base is facing each other. That's all we're going to see for the majority of the game, is that right-hand side being pushed by Polt, being pushed back by Life, and whoever wins that game of tug-of-war can end up winning the game.
Yeah, and his 2-2 is about to complete. He has that at least a +2 melee is about to finish up. His Mutalisks are getting onto the field. We see a huge swell of Zerglings on the left side. Could use that for a counterattack. Polt has the drop headed towards the main base, but there's also Mutalisks on the map as well now. So making these little attacks work is going to be even harder. Life already has Zerglings and a Baneling sitting in the main base just waiting for a potential drop to come in. How much can Polt really do with this? It honestly doesn't look like much. He's also moving forward to try to grab a little bit more of this creep spread.
Yeah, and well, those drops are really nice because that's going to be able to pull Life away from defending that 3rd base there. And a nice attempt at a counterattack, but that is going to get stopped for the time being.
Polt's just getting pressed back now. The Mutalisk giving chase. The medevac even getting smashed by the Widowmine. This is exactly what Life wants. He's sitting at a 15 supply lead, just pressing forward as much as possible. The 2-2 done for the Zerg player. Polt still has a little ways to go. Bunch of Baneleys being morphed. This is a nice catch for Polt, able to prevent either for an actual attack or the bust into the natural expansion. More Zerglings pouring out. Life has his 4th base. I think interesting to note is that he doesn't have too much saturation there.
No, he's only mining the gas right now. The most important part for him, I'd imagine, until that main base is drying up. But is there a 4th command center down for Polt? There's not, right? which means he
look like it.
still has to break this base soon, otherwise it's going to get too late with that fourth base mining. And Life has got creep even down the other side of the ramp now. And with the Mulus and Overseers coming in, he's going to pick off those Widow Mines. And this is getting worse and worse for Polt. He needs to do something, and he needs to do it soon. This is starting to get out of control.
Yeah, I mean, Polt's, he's got a golden opportunity in front of him. The upgrades are about to even out within the next 15 seconds. He still has this medevac with some Marines in the northwest area of the map. But as you said, that creep it's pretty much outside of his third base now. It's almost like a slip and slide with these Banelinks heading towards his third as the game continues on. He's got 8 Queens. The creep spread is turning absolutely crazy. 100 Zerglings on the map. And Polt's trying to press out once again, but I mean, with these many Queens here, as long as he holds the army at bay, he can replenish them so fast. And now, moving with the Mutalisk from the left side as Polt steps up towards the right.
Oh, and the sand is running out the hourglass here for Polt. He's down 150 supply to 190. Some units do push forward. He is getting a couple of Queens, but on the left-hand side here, as well as the right, we are seeing Life move forward with Balins even behind all of it. And it looks like he's going to come crashing through. Maybe this can be where he can pick up this series. Oh, that's going to hurt. The SCVs go down on the natural. And even the third has been compromised. Startail Life looks like he's going to be able to pick up his first series of the day of the DreamHack Winter Tournament.
He's looking so good. The command center gets lifted off. Polt's evacuating. He just dropped all these mules into their death. +3 attack starts, but will he even have time to finish that? He's doing everything possible to try to squeeze this game back. The medevac hitting the main base, but Life is just barreling down towards that natural expansion. Getting through here, the supply depot not able to be lowered. GG from Polt, and Life is going to take our first series here at the DreamHack Winter.
A good performance there by Startail Life as he picks up that 2-1 over Polt and does kickstart his tournament in Group B. And, well, things looking good for the youngster. Polt now has to fight incredibly hard, of course, as he has his next game is against JYP. And that'll continue on there. But so far, a good start to the DreamHack Winter Tournament.
Definitely. Some fantastic play, really. Life just showed complete dominance. He didn't need to do any type of really fast aggression. He got a little bit of a pickup in game number 1, but kind of showed, at least in that last map, it was just straight up macro versus macro. No trickery about it. And Polt, he wasn't able to step up to the challenge.
And as mentioned, Polt's next game is against JYP, who surprisingly to many, did beat out MMA 2-1. So JYP, who's had a very quiet 2013, kickstarts his DreamHack Winter. So that's going to be a game to follow. Startail Life will go over to play against Stardust not too long down the line here, which is another game that he'll be going over to. And it looks like we are now ready for the winner's interview with Smick, so take it away.
Thanks, Sean. Guys, I'm here with Life after his defeat over Polt. It was an amazing series, and he showcased his incredible mutilating Bane aggression. So I want to talk to him actually about that second game because, you know, in the first and third game, he showed just his typical aggression, and he won those games relatively holding the momentum the entire time. But in the second game, we actually saw that Polt, you know, had his momentum, and he won that game. So I want to see what Life's thoughts were on in that second set. 이제 두 번째 경기에서는 이제 첫 번째 경기랑 세 번째 경기에서는 좀 쉽게 이겼지만 두 번째 경기에서는 졌잖아요. 그래서 그 경기에 대해서 좀 설명해 주세요.
제가 기갑병 드랍을 생각했었는데 그 이상한 당하지도 못하는 빌드가 와서 조금 많이 당황해가지고 초반부터 꼬였는데 운 좋게 따라 잡았는데 거기서 너무 뮤타를 무리해가지고 진 것 같아요.
So I actually thought that it would be a Hellbat drop, so that's what I was preparing for. But then he came with a build that I've actually never experienced or seen before, and I think from then on I was a little taken aback, and I didn't know what was going on, and then I think that's why the game started to fall towards Polt's momentum. And then later on, I was actually lucky, and the momentum fell back in my favor. But I think I was a little too stubborn with my Mutalisks, and I kind of went too far with them when I should have used them a little more safely. So I think that's why I ended up losing that game. Now, he actually won, I'm sure you guys know, he won IM New York, and I want to see how he felt preparing for DreamHack Winter since he's had a lot of time since then. 이제 최근에 IM 뉴욕 대회를 우승하셨는데 이번 대회를 준비하면서 그냥 어떻게 준비를 하셨는지 그리고 이번 대회 들어오면서 자신감 있었는지.
준비는 그냥 평소에 하던 대로 했는데 자신감은 요즘 게임이 잘 돼서 있고요. 네, 잘 풀릴 것 같아요.
So he says, I actually practice the way I usually do, and in terms of confidence, I'm actually really confident because lately my games have been playing out really well. And I want to elaborate with him on, a little bit on that, because when I talked to him earlier, he actually stated that he does not feel so good against Protoss, whereas at IM New York, he actually felt that he was really good against Protoss, contrary to other Zerg players at the time. So I want to see if his confidence still stands in regards to his statement earlier about Protoss. 전에는 저랑 얘기했을 때는 토스가 너무 사기다 이런 얘기를 했었잖아요. 그래도 그 자신감이 그렇게 넘치세요?
네? 토스가 솔직히 요즘 쉬운데 많이 세요. 이게 밸런스가 좀 붕괴됐는데 빨리 데이비드 킴이 빨리 정신 차리고 고쳐줬으면.
So Life says, toss used to be easy, but with the recent balance, it just seems like they're doing so well, and I really feel like David Kim should really pay attention to this and fix this. Guys, this will wrap up this interview, and in the next game we'll have MMA and Stardust. But before we get there, we're gonna have a quick commercial break, so stay tuned.